Welcome to the show that looks at truth, fiction, and reality with a smirk. I'm Aaron Peterson.
I'm Amanda Sink.
And I'm Zach Parkerson.
And welcome to Smirk. Each week, one of our hosts introduces an original story, which we then use as a springboard for a spirited discussion on whatever the moral or theme of their story was. This week, it's my turn, and we'll see if anyone dies in my story.
Probably. Is this around like a holiday or something?
Yes, it's Father's Day.
Memorial Day murder, Father's Day murder.
Yeah, it could
Your
be.
birthday murder.
4th of July. It's I know what you did last summer is what I'm going to do.
That actually would have been a cool idea.
It might be, and it might come up later, so shh.
You kill somebody with a firework?
Yes, maybe. Hit somebody with a car. Would you cover up your friend's murder? Or friends if they murdered someone? Would you? And
Of course.
Hey, shh, don't. Spoilers.
We
don't need your thoughts now. Reserve them, man.
Think on it.
Pay attention.
Wow, you jumped right to of course.
Well, yeah.
He doesn't have hesitation.
Why don't you ponder it? What if they're not good people?
Don't you remember the brother story?
Yeah, but that's a brother.
Bro code comes first, though. Come on now.
Yeah, I get the brother code. You're talking about just friends. I mean, that's when you have to start weighing. How good a friend are we, Bill? I don't really know.
You know what? I'm going to let all my friends know right now. You are my brothers.
All two of you.
Yes.
Both of you. Both of you. If you ever drive a car.
Awesome.
Well, actually, it's Zach. He doesn't do cars. So if you ever ride the bus and you happen to hit somebody with the bus, there you go.
I got you.
All right. Well, I do have a story. So you guys ready for this? I think it will be interesting or intriguing or one of those.
Well, I'm so glad you're so confident in yourself.
No, I'm hopeful because it could go either way because it's kind of a weird story.
Did you steal this one from a true crime podcast too?
No.
Okay, so you did your own writing this week. Good
Stole
to know.
This one from someplace new entirely. Or it could be true. You never know. All right, here we go. Time for a story. Jake had thought about this moment for years, and finally, it had arrived. He gazed upon Samantha's features from across the room, focusing on her every moment as he prepared mentally. To Jake, Samantha was a rare, stunning beauty. Her dark hair flipping in the wind created its own character in Jake's mind. Her distinct curves drew a lifetime of fantasies out from the chasms of his imagination. Samantha was his unicorn, a rare breed of woman that existed, until this point, only in his dreams. Her friends walked away, and Jake proceeded forward. He knew this was his window of opportunity. In fact, he knew it all too well. As he approached Samantha, she smiled. To a stranger, this seemed nothing more than politeness, but to Jake, this was an invitation. "Hey, how are you?" he asked as he finally reached Samantha. "Good, and you?" she replied with her trademark courtesy. "It's been a decent day so far, but you know what would make it amazing?" he asked, and he prepared for the follow-up. "No, but I assume you want to tell me," she replied. "Well," Jake began, "if you would honor me with just one dance, that would make this day truly amazing." Jake was both excited and nervous. He believed in his heart that this was the line that would finally get him close to his beloved Samantha. "Aw, thank you. That's so sweet to say. But I'm here with some friends, so I'm going to have to pass." "Thank you for asking, though." Samantha's words seemed kind, yet they cut Jake like a knife, his soul pouring out onto the floor. "Okay, maybe next time." Jake was immediately crushed. His moment had crashed and burned. Without thinking, he stormed out of the party and instantly went home. As he walked in the door of his mansion, he immediately headed for his workshop. As it was every night for the past 4 weeks, everything was set up and pristine. He walked over to the control panel and punched in the necessary coordinates, as well as the specific date and time. This very night, exactly 6 hours earlier, again, for the 29th time, Jake laid down in his cot, intending to get some much-needed rest, because tomorrow, he's going back, and this time, he will find another way to finally make Samantha love him.
Is that the end of the story?
Mm-hmm.
Time machine?
Zach caught it.
What?
Kind of a creepy use of a time machine, though.
It was a time machine.
I missed it.
He's
I think I
reliving
need
the
to...
same day so he could try to get that dance.
Oh, I thought he was just going to keep trying.
Yes, with the time machine.
I mean, wouldn't she notice the same guy asking her every night for a dance?
I know you from somewhere. Where is that? And why is she going to the same place every single night?
Maybe that's like her like typical thing. I don't know. I must have just missed it.
You weren't listening to my story.
I was listening.
It feels like
that's
you weren't
why I was
listening.
so surprised because I was like, is this turning into like a harassment suit or something? And
Yeah, definitely. I definitely thought it was going to take a darker turn than it did.
And it just ended abruptly. There's nobody dead. Maybe she's gonna die.
Oh, wow, no.
Who knows?
No.
You don't know.
I do know.
Hey.
I wrote the story. I absolutely, everyone involved, no.
You don't know what level of frustration he's going to reach 30 attempts later.
Thank you. See, this is how people end up on true crime podcasts.
This is probably true. So
yes,
what do
you're right. Every true crime podcast began with a time machine.
Exactly, correct.
Spoiler alert, this story is true.
Hey.
Hey.
Don't give it away. It's possible.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, give me the code.
Haven't you
machine,
seen Back
dog.
to the Future?
Yes, I have. And apparently Jake has too.
Yeah, it was a documentary.
Everybody but Amanda has seen Back to the Future because she's over here going, what does that mean? That's
I
weird.
really think I just like spaced out when you said the last part because I was so creeped out by the fact that he was like, I'm going to make her mine. I'm going to make her love me. And I was like, that's a weird thing to think to yourself.
You don't think people think that?
I don't want to think about people thinking that.
You should probably think more about people thinking
I
that.
don't because it weirds me out.
Kidding me? I'm flattered.
Yeah, go ahead, stalk me. That's how Zach sees it. Any attention's good attention, right, Zach?
Couldn't agree more, Aaron.
All right, so what do you think the moral of that story? We do not condone stalking. What do you think the moral of that story is?
Stalking is good.
No, no,
Oh,
A
no.
plus.
no. Amanda, what do you think it is?
Well, obviously that this guy's a creep,
oh.
but
That's a
Poor
weird
guy.
moral. I think that's a weird moral.
persistence is key. I don't know.
Persistence.
Persistence is the key. I like that. I used to say that in middle school all the time about trying to get girlfriends.
I bet you did. How many did you get?
Work like a charm, Amanda.
Did you neg them?
You
Of
just-
course you did.
It's the best strategy out there.
I almost
So
Aaron
got it.
funny.
understands.
We almost killed you.
I know. So Zach, what do you think the moral is?
You have no fate but what you make.
Why do you always come up with such cool stuff to say?
I watch Terminator a lot.
That's where you get your lines from?
I'm pretty sure that line is from Terminator Salvation.
Whoa,
It's very
That's why we
specific.
didn't know because you're the only person that remembers that movie. Even Christian Bale's like, what? All right. Well, the actual moral is sometimes you have to let things go.
Yeah. Sorry, Jake. You got to let her go. Like Jack, or like Rose let go of Jack on Titanic.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
No, that's murder.
Yeah, that was straight homicide.
That was straight up homicide. He absolutely killed her. Or she
I
absolutely
was
killed
going
him.
to say,
Yeah. Well,
He should have
you see
killed
the
her.
alternate ending?
Yeah. He jumped back on the board and threw her off.
it's another 4-tape part.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, questions. Moving on to the discussion portion. So, is it wrong to keep approaching someone who has already rejected you? Ooh, deep thoughts
That's
by
a
Jackie.
little complex question here.
It is a complex question.
No, it is. Yeah, for
And
sure.
I've contemplated this before.
Which way? As the person asking or the person being asked?
I don't think that I've like continuously gone after somebody because usually once I get rejected, I'm sad enough to know not to try that again. That's just not, and I don't really,
I just try with their friends.
or that.
That's why you sleep with enough of their friends, and then they'll want to sleep with you.
Oh my gosh.
It's a horrible response. I don't condone it. That was awesome.
It's difficult because there are plenty of times where a girl will flat out say no, that she's not interested, and be as candid and kind as Samantha was. I've said almost that exact same thing to somebody before, where you've just been like, oh, that's really sweet. I really appreciate you saying like that you have, appreciating, recognizing that they feel the way they do, but also like trying to let them down gently that I'm just not interested in you. Or you have something else going on, you're with friends and you don't really want to get into that for that night, whatever the case may be. But then there are a lot of times women, and not necessarily specifically me, but there are, I would say a majority of women who love to be chased. So they love to create that atmosphere where they say no to get a guy to
Thank
continue
God a woman
to try.
said that.
I mean, it's not wrong.
I'm just saying
I'm-
we're not legally allowed to say that. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of like tiptoeing we're gonna have to do because it's 2018 here.
yeah.
I mean, I don't like to do that because I feel like it's just mean to do that to somebody. It's just manipulative. But I also know that those girls, it works for them. So they get guys to chase them and it increases that for whatever reason, guys like to do the chasing, like they're hunting prey or something. It's a little weird if you think about it.
Whoa, that's rather charged.
That's just the best analogy I had, okay?
Wow, that just went to a dark
My
place.
analogies are really terrible, guys. The point is, it's hard because let's say for a man in this situation, he doesn't necessarily know. Well, at this point, he should know because of how many times he's tried.
Hey, I would say it depends on how, well, in this story, yes, but overall.
But
is
in
what I'm
general,
speaking.
like as a man, you really have to read between the lines very closely because the line is so thin of, is she playing hard to get and chase me, or, and then I'm being Prince Charming if I keep giving her this attention and I keep trying to win her over and I do different things to gain her affection, or am I just a creeper? And it really, the only difference between that line is whether the female is legitimately interested. And if she's playing hard to get, you don't know that. You're going to have to hope that this woman is giving you some sort of a sign, touching your arm or being flirtatious with you in some way, communicating with you daily or responding
whispering
to you.
in your ear, I'm playing hard to get.
Yeah, things that she'll never do.
Yeah. She wears a shirt that says, I'm playing hard to get. Everybody at the bar is like, I got a shot.
Usually the ones that are in the bar with their boobs hanging out. That's a good indication that they might play.
No,
hard.
we just want to
Whoa.
go. Whoa. I don't
It's
know.
a joke. Why can you guys make jokes, but I can't?
We can't. That's
You
the
can.
point.
You can.
Yeah, we can't.
Anyway,
I want to laugh at your funny joke, but I can't.
we'll internalize it and laugh with me later. It's just really hard to be in that position. And I've been like, this is funny to me, but I've been on Bumble recently, which is a dating app where women have to approach men. And it's like, I mean, it's something funny to do because people have the most ridiculous profiles. One guy even said, who doesn't like baby calves as his bio? Anyway.
That's kind of amazing. I like this guy.
Ridiculous.
I wouldn't go anywhere near him, but I like him.
But anyway, the thing of it is women have to then be put in the position of trying to approach men and be in those shoes. And having done that, I can see why it's so hard for a guy to even get in that position to say something and approach somebody, especially in person. For them to have the gall to continue to do it, I don't know. I kind of want to give them praise just for continuing to try. But it's hard for them to decipher, like, is she into me or not?
Zach, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, conventional wisdom says if a woman says no, no means no, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you meet so many of your like friends who get married, you're like, well, you know, he asked me out every Friday to a dinner 36 weeks in a row, and finally I said yes, and I fell in love. You know, so it's like, it is a complex question. I guess you just got to weigh how important that girl is.
Yeah, I mean, is she leaving the window open, like the window of opportunity open a little bit with, I can't this weekend, I'm with my girlfriends. You know, a flat out no to me says, okay, 100% not interested. I would, but I can't this weekend. That says there's an opportunity, that there's an option.
Mhm.
She's interested. I can't this weekend, maybe some other time. That leaves the window open. There's a lot of, you just have to listen. Listen. And if she just, all she says is no, that should be your indication. That's a no.
I don't know. Yeah, see it. And then I'm like, oh, how you doing?
Then he's appealed, like more attracted to her. But I think part of the problem is women are teaching men that you need to read between the lines to understand what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling. So men then start to think about that. I think in some cases, like, maybe she is into me, she just doesn't want to tell me right now. So then they might take something as sweet as what Samantha said, where she's like, oh, I'm with my friends, thank you for offering, you're so kind, that's so sweet. And they're like, well, she thinks I'm sweet, so maybe she likes me. And
So maybe she'll put out.
that too, I guess.
Wow, that went to a dark place.
What?
I'm sure that's what he's thinking.
Look, I'm sorry, it leads one way.
I guess.
Maybe they're just going to dance forever.
And dance every night. But I mean, that is, women are not subjecting themselves to this, but they're also perpetuating that atmosphere at times. Some women are, by creating that false illusion that they might be interested as long as this guy just continues to chase you. Women will play these games Not saying that men won't either, but the topic is about women. They'll play these games to try to get someone more interested.
It's not about women. It's just about someone. You just leaped on this crusade.
No, I'm just saying, like, in the scenario, it's about the woman on this side of the fence. Like, the scenario where it's the female. Females do create that. So it can be hard for a guy to decipher. But I think there's a limit. Like, you don't just continue to try until she gets a new boyfriend.
No, you keep going until she's married. Maybe even after that.
Whoa. I mean, boyfriend ain't nothing but a roadblock. Husband ain't nothing but a goalie.
Put that on a t-shirt.
The new slogan for the podcast. But I don't know. It's just really hard to.
No, I get it. See, that's why I think everybody should live by the mantra that everybody wants you. You're holding yourself back. Have that kind of confidence.
You know what, Aaron? I was just telling everybody at work that's how I live my life.
It's a good way to live.
Just assume everybody's into you.
Exactly. That way you don't become off desperate like this guy. You built a time machine and that's what you want to do with it?
That is a bizarre use for a time machine.
It is. And it kind of leads to my next question. When does your interest in someone cross the line into obsession?
When you build a time machine.
When your name is Jake and you're chasing Samantha?
Yeah, I mean, there's another complex
It
question,
is.
right?
But here's what I would add to that. A lot of people, when you say, when does interest turn into obsession? Most people, I think, immediately go to, well, that's just a crazy stalker guy. I think most people I know have been obsessed over someone at some point to different levels, but they have acted on it as an obsession to some point. Whether they did something wrong or not, I'm not saying that, but they internalized it. It was an obsession. They were constantly fixated on what they were doing, or Facebook stalking them, or checking their Instagram every minute, or checking their Twitter, following them everywhere they are on Twitter at all times. I mean, they were doing something that would be deemed obsession. So when does it no longer become cute and romanticized and it starts becoming a problem?
Well, if you're checking their social media every hour, that seems problematic to me.
I think when you feel the need to have that control over someone, you've already crossed the line. Whether you're acting on it or thinking about it, you're already crossing the line into obsession. If you can't control yourself and maintain yourself enough to not do these things that you're talking about on a regular basis where it actually is consuming you, you're far past the point of leaping into obsession. You're in the ocean. You're swimming in there. You're drowning.
It's very, I mean, it's a sad thing. And I'm not speaking, I legitimately am not speaking about to just the people that get really obsessed. I mean, the people that are following people and everything that's stalkerish. I'm not even talking about that. That's a psychotic break as far as I'm concerned. I'm actually meaning when you get obsessed, that's very unhealthy. When you're constantly doing those things where you have to know where they are. You know, people do that when they go through divorces and stuff. Usually it's the person that gets left. They're constantly driving by that person's house. They're seeing when friends say they've seen them somewhere. They happen to go to that bar. They just happen to be there. Oh, I just happened to. Oh, well, look at you, Shirley. I didn't know you'd be here. That's so weird.
Oh, you're looking so good.
Yeah.
You know, I've been hitting the gym lately.
They just like open the door with a flex.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fine line where it just becomes uncomfortable. Zach, do you know where that line is?
Are you asking me if I've ever been obsessed?
No, not you. Well, yeah.
I'm not copping anything on this show. Thank you very much.
Good call. Don't know what the statute of limitations are.
You might. Hey, maybe I'm still stalking them to this day. You don't know.
Whoa.
I'm sorry if my wife's listening. No.
Maybe she's the one you're stalking.
Hey, that's sweet.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what?
Is it? That's
right, because she's my property. Is that what you mean?
No.
Jeez, Aaron. What an old-fashioned way of thinking. Man. No, it is like, yeah, there are times you should be able to be aware. If you can't hang out with a friend without mentioning the person you're into every single time, or if you're watching a TV show, you're like, oh, that's so Samantha, even though you have been rejected by her 4 times, that's probably not healthy either.
People get obsessed and fixated in the relationship, even when there is like a mutual attraction and agreement and like a contract to enter into this contract of a relationship.
There's a contract?
Sign it with blood, Aaron.
Oh.
Yeah, in the rest of your life.
Well, I feel like that turns into like more of a controlling thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But obsession kind of is a control. It's the need for you to control in your mind.
I think to me, obsession is when you have no control. Control is something entirely different. That's when the person is agreeing to still be there and you're in control of that. Obsession is just when you have that feeling and you can't
turn on the GPS on their phone or whatever.
You don't have the control when you have obsession, but obsession continues and perpetuates when you are fixated on having that control. Regardless of whether you attain that control or not, obsession is like revolving around trying to get that control, trying to feel control over your life in some semblance. That's how OCD works.
I don't agree with that. I think obsession can easily be, you don't want to control that person or the situation. You're just fixated on them. It's not like you're trying to do anything. You're just constantly obsessed with everything.
But that's still a control. Like it's still a control issue because you're not able to even control yourself. You're so fixated on worrying about the future that you have created like obsessive compulsive thoughts. Regardless of if you act on them, you're still having an obsession, which is focused around a loss of control. And I mean, like if you just relate it to OCD, that's how I see it.
All right. I see it different. Teach their own.
That's a very explosive argument on this week's episode of Smirk.
Well, I feel like obsession isn't the same thing. I feel like control in a relationship is specifically something else. That's when obsession crosses a line and someone's more susceptible to that obsession than they would be previously. So to me, it's two different things I'm talking about anyway. So I'm not talking about the same things. Ain't no Ike Turner in this conversation. That's what I'm saying.
That might be a little bit of a data reference.
Hey, everybody knows who Ike Turner is.
If they're 50.
I'm sure we've got a few 50-year-olds in the audience somewhere.
Yeah, you. Bring out your AARP card.
Oh. I'm not 50.
Actually, I think you have to be in your 60s for that, don't you?
I don't know, because I'm not 50.
That's why I was asking you, because I'm sure you do have one. Have you gotten your membership in the mail yet?
Wow. All right. So here's the final little question for my story. If you had a time machine, would you go back to a moment where you failed in a relationship to change how you handled it? Or do you believe you should live with the consequences already?
You need to live with your consequences. Memories make you who you are, because there's no such thing as a soul. All you have is your memory. That's what constructs you. So you need all of those things. Keep trying to fix what's broken, and you'll go insane.
So when you have a time machine, correct me if I'm wrong, you're still retaining those memories when you go back to your original place.
Right. But okay, so if you're going back, then you are a psychopath.
So
just one time. You're only doing it one time.
That's fine.
Right? One time.
I would absolutely take the lessons I've learned as long as I can continue to remember those lessons and go back and fix the things that I've done. I would not try to fix the relationship, but I would fix the way I've handled things, because I may or may not have a temper problem. So I'm sure I've gotten really angry, and I know I've said some nasty things when I've been furious with somebody for cheating on me and everything like that. So
well, I think you should be.
But I would like to not have that on my conscience. I would like to be able to say that I've handled things the way that I need to, and I didn't stoop to their level, because that's what bothers me about it is people have treated me like crap, and in response, they've just continued to push and push and push and degrade on me until it got to a point where it was I resulted in responding negatively. And I don't like that, because I don't. Yeah, okay. I would go back and this is what I said in the beginning, I would go back and I would fix those things the way I handled them. I wouldn't fix trying to mend the relationship, though, as long as I could maintain those lessons that I learned from what I did the first time around.
Yeah, I mean, do you have to kill your past self when you go back to try to change your things?
Well, I mean, it's your time machine, so it's
or you just you go back into your body back then?
Yeah, I would think you just yeah.
Ooh, these are interesting questions.
Yeah, I'm not trying to overthink it. I'm just thinking if there's something I want to change when I was 16, I've aged since then. I can grow a beard now, for instance.
I guess I still can't. I think you would. I mean, it's your time machine, your rules. So you can either go back and you're in your earlier version of yourself, which would be weird because you have that older person's memories, or you're just the creepy guy that runs up to your 16-year-old son and goes, hey, when you ask that girl out, here's what you're going to want to say. Trust me on this.
I'd probably mail a letter to myself.
Ooh, that's good.
Because I like words and I understand words.
Words are helpful.
I like words.
Words are helpful.
But if I try to have a conversation with somebody, if I'm not understanding that perspective, I'm going to have a hard time bringing myself especially at like a younger age, bringing myself to comprehend what they're saying without letting my emotions overwhelm. And so, that still happens to me sometimes now, but it was way worse when I was younger, and that was part of my problem. So if I wrote myself a letter, I could actually sit down and comprehend the words that are in front of me and think about the context of what this is saying. And I don't have somebody basically telling me what to do. I have a letter from either anonymously or from myself that's saying, you need to handle things a little bit differently in this situation. I'm telling you, like, something bad is going to happen.
This is future you writing you a letter.
Right.
Right.
Easy to believe. Well, you jot down a little secret that only you know.
Yeah. Ooh, there you go. Smart.
I remember when you stole those garden gnomes. I remember.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, now everybody does. Thanks, Aaron.
I've actually contemplated this quite a bit. Whether, no matter how the information got passed, I would not go back to change anything. Simply for the fact that if you think about it universally, if you go back and change one single event, it's the butterfly effect. So it could affect every single thing that happens after that. And I wouldn't want to risk that because you don't know how adversely it's going to affect everyone else around you. You know, and there's too many factors to it. I've seen enough time machine movies where I pondered this probably more than I would like to admit. So I would not do it.
That's why I'm asking if I could keep my memories.
No, it doesn't matter to me what my memories are because it would still affect everybody else. Because your decision there, say this is the girl that got away for whoever. It's the girl of your dreams that got away. You said the wrong thing and she left. And you know if you went back to one moment, you could possibly change that. Well, if you go back and do that, there's a good chance that could affect your friendships down the road because that relationship could lead a different path. It could lead you out of state. It could lead you to another vocation. It could lead you to a lot of other options, and it could take away family, friends, kids, all kinds of stuff.
I'm with you, but if I can retain my memory at, let's say, hypothetical, like 43-year-old age, that means that I would have had the memory from hypothetical 16 age to 43.
So I don't need those friends anymore?
No, that means you would have the knowledge that you had at 43 at 16 to be able to understand what those lessons were and continue along the same path.
It's not about the lessons. It's about every person that it affects after that moment. That's
right. I think she's saying if she treads carefully enough with her memories intact that she could hopefully keep things as close to how they were anyway.
You could make the same decisions. And just knowing what...
But only if you happen to be in the same circumstances. If you end up, like, say, you end up with this person, and then they're like, hey, you know what? I really want to move to California, and you love them so much, you go with them, and you never meet the people that are in your life currently because you met them after that moment. You wouldn't have them in your life anymore.
But if you have all those life decisions,
I got to fly back to New Orleans on the 13th of October.
Yes, you make the same decisions.
It's very hard to remember specifics like that.
It's tough to make the same decisions, right? Because if you kiss that girl on her porch or whatever, instead of walking away, you're changing everything that happens in the next 2 weeks. And if you keep it, you keep negging her, keep the relationship going.
Oh my God, no. Don't listen to him, people.
Keep going. I like where he's going.
Negging is so bad.
You keep her around for several years, and now she's with you in all these scenarios where she wasn't before, and it changes everything. Maybe your best friend in high school hates that girl, and now he's got to deal with her every day because you're with her. So now he doesn't want to talk to you anymore because he's like, man, I can't hang out with you without the girl.
It happens.
Is this like a personal life story? Because you've had a couple very specific instances. The girl on the porch and the kiss and the friend hates the girl. And
I'm a good storyteller.
Uh-huh.
I like how you think on the fly like that. Yeah, no, all that stuff matters. And I wouldn't want to take a chance of affecting every other relationship. Basically, you would be chancing permanently affecting every other relationship just for that one. So
is it worth potentially throwing away Smirk for that girl or boy?
Right.
That's why my answer was like contingent on if I make the same decisions and have the same knowledge going forward, then I'm okay going back and making that one adjustment. Because mine wouldn't be making the kiss if there was like an opportunity.
I get what you're saying. I don't think you're seeing it the same way I'm seeing it.
I see what you're saying. I'm just saying in my scenario, I make the exact same decisions.
I don't think there's any way possible you can make the exact same decisions in life that you've.
Well,
made
she seems to be alluding that what she would go back and change isn't so monumental.
Well, yeah, she did say
It's
that she would
just
go. She would go
response.
back and handle her response to an already ended relationship.
Yeah, I would not like. I would
You
not.
wouldn't want to go back and
No,
save
I would
one.
not want to save the relationship. I like.
Just handle it differently.
Yes.
Okay.
Just
all right.
my response, because I'm with you in that.
I'm
if
not
I
saying I'd go back to save one either. I was just being facetious.
Would you invest in Disney?
that would be a smart idea.
Yes.
There might be a couple things I need to make.
Disney, Apple, Google, everything else. And I would find my young self then and be like, and start smacking him. Why didn't you go to college more? And why didn't you invest in this stuff you could have? Why'd you spend all that money on New Orleans that one year? Why?
Because you have really cool pictures
I
from that
do,
year.
But you
picked up that midget.
It's a leprechaun. Thank you very much.
No, I was a small person.
Who was dressed like a leprechaun? Let's just call him a leprechaun. He wasn't dressed like a leprechaun,
That
but he
somehow
had
seems
like a
more
suit
of
on.
That's more upsetting somehow.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Well, that was kind of fun. It went all over the place, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we covered a lot of range there.
I wish we could go back in time and fix this episode.
Bottom line, there are things, of course, that I would like to think that I would change, but in reality, I think I would just break the time machine.
Whoa. We could do all kinds of... I would totally be Biff if I had one.
You go back with the sports almanac?
Yeah, I would definitely go back and
man.
there would be some... I would be rich. So everybody always says they wouldn't do that. Oh, they totally would. Yeah.
I wouldn't do it for money, but I would do it for a different, like, I would get myself with the career that I always wanted.
Yeah, I would do that too. But I would also be rich.
You would also make money.
Yeah. You wouldn't need a career because you just bet on the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
I would basically just buy that hospital, the children's hospital, and help the kids that way. And then I could help people and have a boat.
A yacht.
Yeah. Don't settle for a boat when you can have a yacht, Aaron.
That's true. When I can have people wait on me, that seems more fun. It does. Money can't buy you happiness. Liars. They're such liars. It can too. All right. This story, do you think it was truth or fiction?
Fiction. Yeah.
It is
I hate to
true.
go out on a limb.
I made a time machine last week, and I've done this unsuccessfully multiple times. No, it's fiction.
Was there an inspiration?
No.
Was Damon Lindelof the inspiration?
Yes. Everybody gets a little lost in life somewhere.
Boom. What's the title of your story that's not true at all?
All in a matter of time.
Ooh, clever.
That's a sequel to the Justin Timberlake movie.
It is.
That's funny.
It is. In fact, Justin Timberlake's going to star in the adaptation.
What he wouldn't need to ask more than once though.
Ooh.
Justin Timberlake walks up to that girl. She's like,
Truth. Except for when he had his ramen noodle hair.
No, you know what? He still would. But the thing is, if his name's not Justin Timberlake, if it's Frank Valencia, she's not saying yes so quickly.
It's a very specific name off the top of your head.
Sorry, Mr. Frank Valencia, if you're listening. I didn't mean to pull your name, dude. All right, well, as our show goes on, we will occasionally pick listener stories to read or discuss on Smirk. If you'd like the chance to have yours read, email it to mystory@smirkpodcast.com. That's mystory@smirkpodcast.com. And well, we've done a couple of them in the last couple of weeks. So those were fun. Feature, I think it was Loose Ends and what was the other one? Thomas Beck's was one.
Death on Two Legs.
Death on Two Legs. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a review. And maybe you don't want to write in a story and give us a whole book. And you just want to reflect upon a story that you heard on Smirk. Do that in review form. Go to Apple Podcasts, find Smirk, and just type it in.
5 stars only.
Don't say that.
You can be as critical as you want as long as you only critique up to 5 stars.
Up to 5?
Be as critical as you want in the written review, but just give 5 stars.
There you go. They do help the
guys are
show.
terrible.
They do help the show. So if you could, that would be great. All right. Well, join the conversation by joining our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter @Smirk Podcast, and be sure to use the show's hashtag Smirk. Don't miss an episode. Be sure to subscribe to Smirk on your podcast app of choice and check out our website at smirkpodcast.com. And don't forget, you all have an internet time machine. So if you missed an earlier episode, you can go back and listen to them all right now. They're all there.
Correct your mistakes while you still can. Through Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Zach, did you just go ugh to your own show?
No, I went ugh to your time travel bit you used there.
All right.
Was that not dad jokey enough for you? Or was it too dad jokey?
I forgot Aaron's 50, so.
Hey! Not 50.
He's
I'm sorry,
getting
52.
ready to sign up for his AARP. Thank you very much.
He
The
just
membership
sent the
is still
form
sitting in the mail.
How many times are you going to
He
use
used
that
the mail
joke?
because he's so old that he didn't know he could do it online.
Oh, that was good.
You know what? You guys suck. And as you write your own life stories, try to hurry up and do it because you're going to die soon. Always remember to tell it with a smirk.